Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. In today's video, we're planting green peppers. I'm going to show you how I do it. So as you can see, these are the things that I use. Right there I have some Epsom salt, some Jobe's Organics, tomato, let me try to get out of the sun, tomato and vegetable fertilizer. I have some eggs. I also have some compost. This is black cow compost and my watering can. And what I'm basically going to do is move the pine shavings out of the way. I'm just going to dig a hole, put all the stuff in, and plant the peppers. And let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to space the peppers about 22 to 24 inches apart. This will allow enough room for growth, but also help me maximize my space. We get a lot of rain here, and that can attribute to powdery mildew and black spot and rust and things like that. So I like to space it out. In my previous video, you'll see that I couldn't find my shovel, so I was using my fork to dig a hole, which wasn't working very well. So I actually have this attachment for my drill, and that's what I'll be using to dig the holes. And it made for very quick work. The idea for putting eggs inside the hole comes from an old wives' tale. Back in the earlier days when we didn't have access to fertilizers and things as much as we do now, to avoid blossom end rot, farmers would put eggs in their hole to allow for calcium. I don't know that there's any science to it that would make sure that that actually works, because it takes time for the eggshell to break down in order for the plant to actually absorb the nutrients. But I figure it doesn't hurt, and we have extra eggs, so I have no problem just going ahead and throwing some eggs in there. I use the Epsom salt to add magnesium to the soil so that it can help the plants with, like, sometimes when you're growing plants and there's a lack of magnesium, they'll get purple veins in their leaves and things like that. So I use the Epsom salt to avoid that. The vegetable and tomato fertilizer that I use just a little bit of that because I'm putting it at the bottom of the hole, and I want the plant to really spread out. I want its roots to really grow around so we can have a nice sturdy plant. If I put a lot in there, then the roots are not going to spread out into the soil. And with the storms and the wind that we have here, I really need my plants to be strong and have roots that come out to hold them up through the wind. As I place the plants in the ground, I try to avoid as much root damage as I can, because I'm planting these in the heat of the day, and if I disturb the roots, then the sun is really going to bother them. I've noticed that if I leave the roots intact as much as possible, then they can overcome the sun and I don't have to provide any shade for them. Putting the composted black cow manure on the top, basically when it rains, it will take the nutrients that are in the compost and just give it a little boost every time it rains or every time it waters. It will get a little bit of that, will trickle down into the soil. So that's why I just lay it on top. So I'm giving them a good dose of water here because the pine shavings are going to absorb quite a bit of the water, and I need to make sure that the water gets down into the soil. So I'll be posting update videos for these pepper plants. I'll probably do every couple weeks just to show the progress, just short little videos. So if you want to see that, make sure you like and subscribe. Thanks, guys.